So I have a lecture that I did here actually about 6 months ago about the original Zionists, Herzl, Ben Gurion, and many of the other people that were the original Zionists. Now the original Zionists were the wicked of the wicked, no less than the Nazi Germans. And the reason why is the following. One is the fact that they were not only anti-Torah. Now, there's many people that are anti-Torah, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're worse than Nazis. They're bad, they're not good, but they're not worse than necessarily Nazis. But Herzl, for example, was not just anti-Torah. He was anti-Semitic. He was anti-Jews. Why? Because his goal, his journal was discovered after he died. He had communications between him and the Pope. There's a whole documentary about this on the internet if you'd like to watch it. It's in Hebrew though. But anyone who speaks Hebrew should watch it. If you don't, maybe there's a translation somewhere. But anyway, there's a documentary about Herzl's life and a documentary about what he did and so on and so forth. And many Israelis that learn about Herzl in university today still don't know this. That Herzl was anti-Semitic. He hated Jews. He hated Judaism with a passion because he converted his son to Christianity. And his letter, communication with the Pope, was a solution for the Jewish problem, he said, was that to get everyone to feel bad for us, to give us the land, to give the Jewish people the land, and then convert everybody to Christianity. That's how his solution was to eliminate anti-Semitism. Why? If there's no Jews, there's no anti-Semitism. So he didn't hate the Torah. He hated Jews. And he hated Judaism, and he hated the Torah itself. He didn't hate that part. So he was a Rasha with a degree. Many of the other followers that he had were also anti-Torah and did a lot of things that are no less than the evil things that the Nazis did. For example, anyone that has followed some of the lawsuits by the Yemenite Jews against the Israeli government over the last 25, 30 years knows about Yeldei Taman, the children of Yemen, that the original Zionists that, if you will, started with the original politicians of modern day Israel. They got all types of immigrants, all types of Jewish immigrants to come from all over the world because many of them wanted to live in Israel. And many of them who lived in third world countries, they actually thought the Mashiach came. But so they didn't have communications, they didn't have internet like today, and they would arrive to Israel thinking the Mashiach came, and these Zionists would tell them, listen, you don't need to keep mitzvot anymore. That you're in the land of Israel. And they would cut their payas, and they would make them go, send them to kibbutzim, and send them to places that teach anti-Torah. And if anybody had a child, because there wasn't a program like you have today, if you go into a hospital, even as a visitor, you have to give your ID, picture, get a tag, you leave, you have an ID. There's a lot of monitoring today. In those days in Israel, it wasn't like that. It was like a third world country. So many of the Yemenites that had babies with them or had babies in Eretz Yisrael, the hospitals were part of this organization, underground organizations, that they would take the babies and they would sell them to have experiments done on them. And thousands of children were murdered in cold blood by these Zionists. This is all documented. This is not Yehon Reuven, this is all documented that most people don't know. So they murdered thousands of people, did all types of medical experiments. They also sent kids to places in America, parents that couldn't have kids but had a lot of money. They would buy these kids for $5,000, $10,000, which was a lot of money in those days, and they would adopt this kid. The kid would only find out that that's not really his parents when he's already 15, 20 years old, but because he's dark and his parents are white. Because he's Yemenite and his parents are Ashkenazi. And some of the kids grew up later on and said, listen, I'm one of those kids. And they discovered who their parents are, and you can see this whole documentary, a lot of documentaries about this. So these evil things were done by evil people. They weren't done by Goyim. They were done by Jews, they were heretics, they were Reshaim, and they were all Zionists. So those people we hate. It's a mitzvah to hate them, no less than the Nazis. Why? Because they're both Amalek. Amalek doesn't have to be a Goy. Amalek can also be a Jew. Yevseksia in Russia was Jews, but they were Amalek also. You read the book by Rav Yitzhak Zilber, Alav Shalom, he says, this is Amalek. Who? Yevseksia. Yevseksia was a group of communist Jews that their prime target was to kill religious Jews. Just because they were religious. So there were a lot of wicked people that were Jews, unfortunately. So those people were obligated to hate. Now, as far as Zionism in general, there's two types. One type is the type I just described to you. People that are anti-Torah. Unfortunately, some of them still exist today, like Lapid, Imach Shemo V'Zichro, is one of those people that's an anti-Torah person. He's in the government today. There's also the guy from Tveria that is pretty much making it his mission of his life to get all of Tveria, all of Tiberias to violate Shabbat. That's his mission in life. He's anti-Torah Amalek. People like that, we're obligated to hate. But then there is the religious Zionists. What is a religious Zionist? Religious Zionist is someone that follows the Torah, keeps Shabbat, keeps Kashrut, keeps Tarat Mishpach, keeps the laws of Torah more or less, to the best of his ability, but he loves the land of Israel. That should be every Jew. That should be every Jew should love Eretz Yisrael. Even if you don't agree, which you shouldn't agree with the political situation in Israel, because they're all, the entire cabinet of politicians there, nearly every single one of them is one bigger Rasha than the other, and there's even some terrorists in the government. Literally, terrorists are actually in the government of the Israeli government that actually help the terrorists, help the Palestinian terrorists get funding and get payments from the government for killing Jews. This is actually people in the cabinet, in the government of the Israeli government. There are actually people like this. And they get paid salaries by the Israelis. They protest against Tzahal, against IDF. They call IDF murderers. But they're in the Israeli government. So those people, you're obligated to hate. The political situation in Israel, you're obligated to hate. Because it's all against the Torah, it's against rationale, it's against logic, it's against everything. Anyone that's normal, it's obligated to hate such things. But then there is Eretz Yisrael. Now, there is some tzaddikim from Satmar. Some tzaddikim from Satmar that are anti the land of Israel in a sense that they love the land of Israel, but they're so against the government of Israel, the Zionist movement of Israel, that they're, in essence, they're saying that you're not allowed to live in Eretz Yisrael. You're not allowed to live in Eretz Yisrael because we were supposed to get Eretz Yisrael from God. We weren't supposed to take it with our own power. Now, even though there is, the original Satmar Rebbe had this similar, this argument, even though the original argument has merit to it, it's not necessarily completely preposterous. It's not like completely wrong. There is merit to it. The reality is it's already after the fact. Meaning, we already have the land. So, to continue fighting against the land doesn't do anybody any good. Because what's going to happen? Let's say you win. Chas v'shalom. But let's say you win, and you say, okay, all the Jews now, you're not allowed to live in Eretz Yisrael. Okay, now you have 8-9 million Jews. Where are they going to go? We're going to America? They're not going to accept us here. They're going to accept, well, you think they're going to accept us in America? You're dreaming. In your dreams. In your dreams they're going to accept 9 million Jews. They're going to accept 9 million Syrians before they accept 9 million Jews. Where, in Saudi Arabia? They'll murder us at the gate. In Syria? In Iran? In where? Bangladesh? Where are they going to send us to? There's no way you could put the Jews. There's no way you could put the Jews. No one wants us. This is a land that we have, and Baruch Hashem, we have it. So even though the original argument of whether they took it by force and the political situation is anti-Torah and so on has merit to it, still, you still have to fight for the lives of the people that already live there. And hope that they all do tshuva. Many of them, Baruch Hashem, have a lot more Torah than we have here in America or anywhere else in the world. But many of them, even more so, have the opposite. Point being is that you have to use your brain a little bit and understand that there is problems there. So you can't just blindly love everyone. That's just stupidity. It's like loving a Nazi. You can't love a Nazi. So there's you have to pick and choose. There's a religious Zionism and then there's Zionism in general. Religious Zionism is less problem.